Hello, my name is Mercury, and welcome to this brand new episode of Media Buffet. Today, I'm alone. Today, I'll be discussing The Lost World Jurassic Park, the second installment in the Jurassic Park, and I guess just the entire Jurassic saga, and also the first one to really delve into the the realm of, is it good? Is it after Jurassic Park, which is considered like last time I talked about Jurassic Park, it was the Jurassic World Camp Consider season 3 actually. But like when I talked about Jurassic Park last time, the first movie I give it an S tier. It is a peak movie, peak cinema, right? But we are getting into we're getting into the weird, the much more divisive part of the actual series, where now it's a debate whether or not these movies are good or not, especially with Jurassic World, especially with those movies. But the Lost World Jurassic Park kind of started off officially the Jurassic Saga. It's based on the book of the same. It is named after the same book, the book of the same name, minus the Jurassic Park part, and it features elements from the book, but it is by no means a faithful adaptation. The first movie had its creative differences. I won't deny that. It didn't have two characters were just left out of the movie completely. Scenes were taken out that they couldn't do in the movie, because probably because of certain, probably because of some reason they couldn't they couldn't do them, but that it stayed pretty faithful to what happened in the book. This movie, fucking hell no. I have not read The Lost World, the book, but I know that it is inaccurate, because there are scenes, there's stuff here, there are characters in this movie that didn't exist for the in the second novel. There are characters here that just like they're characters like are mishmashed characters from the novel. Yeah, and the real kicker is that The Lost World, the original, the second novel. This is also the only other novel to come out of Michael Crichton that is Jurassic Park related. He only made one singular sequel. Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World and the Jurassic Saga after The Lost World Jurassic Park is pretty much I just remembered I don't have internet. Is almost entirely just purely written by just the team there that wrote those movies. They're not based on anything. They have elements of the novels, but there's only so much to pull out of two novels, you know. But yeah, what I was gonna say is that the real kicker about all this is that The Lost World, the second novel, was written in response to the film, because people after that were clamoring for they were clamoring for Crichton to write the second novel, a sequel. But the problem was that is that how Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park novel ended, is with Isla Nublar getting fucking annihilated by getting by getting fucking carpet bombed with napalm. So yeah, there wasn't much to go, so that's why Michael Crichton had to introduce a second island, Isla Sorna, and like explain it through that. But but really, that's why that's really why he wrote the novel. It was in response to the film, and that's because they legit wanted it. They just wanted the a sequel, and Universal wanted a sequel to capitalize on how much Jurassic Park made, which I can pull up. Inflation is a wonderful thing to just kind of explain how much money would have made today, I guess. Like the equivalent of how much it made back then, because back then obviously there were almost no billion-dollar successes, but through inflation we fucking we know which ones would have are the equivalent of billion-dollar successes. So yeah. Anyways, if you hear any thudding, that's my fucking gigantic thermos. This is not right. Give me a second. Where is it? Is it anywhere in here? The highest. Timeline of this is not. Okay. I can't find it. Can I find? Okay, 1993 in film. That should be good. In film. There, up. Okay. Damn. And this is the content you came here, folks. You came here for calculations that make no that you came in for dead silence while I look up shit on my computer with very bad internet. I'll talk about that. Actually, fuck it. I'll talk about it right now. So, the only reason why I'm fucking making this episode right now is I know it's late. Fuck it. I know this episode's late, but I need to do it. We're caught up technically. I still need to do some others. So I want this to like be the last late episode I do, at least for a good bit. Just have this be the only one for a very for a good amount of time, and let me just copy paste this. Actually, I might not have to be fucking that stupid. Yep. And also, my internet's out, and the recording app that I use doesn't need internet. What is this? Okay. It doesn't actually. No. Stupid. Should I? Should put it in June, right? No, I'll put it in Irish. So my internet's out, and the recording app that I use, which is Super Recorder. That's what it's called. Yeah, Super Recorder. I don't. It doesn't require internet. So right now I am using my hotspot on my phone. I'm recording on my phone. That's why you probably hear like if I do like it's like that. You can probably hear the chair. Yeah, I don't have a mic. That's been true for the last 4 years. I've always been recording. Been recording off my phone. The only times I haven't been recording off my phone mic, not just like I've always been recording off my phone, but like the only times I haven't done it is like usually the episodes with multiple people in them, where I actually like use my some earphones. The reason why I don't use them here is because I have no fucking use for them. They might do well with noise canceling actually, so I might start using them. But yeah, I'm only doing this episode now and not procrastinating for it is because one, it's late, and two, I can't play Marvel Rivals, so I can't procrastinate as a I think as much as I would want to. But yeah. Anyways, let's calculate Jurassic Park. Just kind of putting it there. So Jurassic Park made 914 million in the box office. 914,691,120 to be precise in its first in like its initial run, and that would be equivalent to 1.9 billion dollars in today's money. So yeah. It's quite a lot of money that the first one made. So yeah, it was a big success. The first Jurassic Park movie was a big success all around, and that's why they wanted to make, and that's why Crichton was kind of pressured to make the sequel by both fans and Universal, because Universal wants to capitalize on this fucking gigantic success, and so Michael Crichton wrote The Lost World, and The Lost World. Let me just put the phone there so I don't accidentally hit the stop record button. And Michael Crichton wrote it, released it in 1995, which is like in the in between year of the first movie and the Lost World coming out, and it was immediate. It was like I'm pretty sure that it was that the second movie was immediately greenlit as that was going on. But yeah. So the irony is that The Lost World was made as a response to the film, and later, when they made the Lost World, it took some things from the book, but it was fairly. It was fairly I don't know. It was fairly not faithful to the book. It just wasn't. So yeah, and also it's some like, there was a lot of changes that Mike Grant had to do. He didn't want to do the novel at first, but then he did, probably because they because Universal wasn't want to pay him. um. Yeah. So, The Lost World. The film wasn't very faithful. I do know that, and I will knock some points out of it for that because I read it, but I know some of the. I know some of the things that they they sort of like I know some of the things they changed, so I will be mentioning them. Um, yeah, I will be mentioning it throughout the review. So, aside from that, let's just jump straight into it, I guess. So yeah, The Lost Jurassic Park. Is it as just for wondering? I actually have I've watched this movie before. It isn't just like I'm going in there blind. Obviously, I've watched this fucking movie before. I've watched all the Jurassic Park movies. Uh, I actually own them twice. I own them on DVD and Blu-ray, except Dominion. I don't have Dominion physically, but I do own all of them until Fallen Kingdom. So yeah, I watched this not on streaming because these movies are never fucking on streaming. God damn. These movies are so hard to find on streaming because for some fucking reason Universal never puts them on Peacock. It's like Universal forgets about Peacock for a lot of time. But yeah. Let's just start off with what we always start off with, like the CGI in action. Okay. The CGI here is on par with the original, with the first movie. 4 years isn't the biggest. A lot that can happen in 4 years when it comes to technology. That's a given. But like, I feel like there's only so much you can do with, like, I don't know, doing the same thing. Like, it's not okay. The movie looks better. Just point blank, like the things in the movie, like the animals and all that, the CGI, they look better, and obviously the practical effects are very well made. It looks real, but a lot of the things in the movie are spent with CGI. Like a lot of that's just CGI. It's not. There's really no. There's really no. Like no dinosaur that wasn't portrayed with CGI at least. You can tell when certain things are CGI. This is obviously this is obviously the 90s, late 90s, but the 90s anyways, where CGI hasn't exactly been perfected yet, and even like to this day, it's very noticeable when things are faked and when things aren't. But obviously, I'm not gonna knock points out of it for being dated because fucking hello. The movie came out 20 years ago. Of course it's dated, but I can't knock points out of it for not aging. For not aging as well as it could have. CG, at least the CGI, like CGI, at least I can't, like, yeah, like the technology was. It's like, what did it want? What do you want me to, like, fucking knock points out of it for not having 2020, at least like 20, late 2020, 2010 CGI? Like, come on. CGI is good for its time. Like, it is still some of the best CGI of the 90s. But I feel like this movie kind of relies on that quite a bit, which isn't bad, but it relies on it quite a bit. And also, we see a lot less of it because of it. There is still some very good practical effects in the movie, especially I think the baby T-Rex is done pretty well. But aside from that, like, that's like the only big part of practical effects that are actually in this movie. And the baby Stegosaurus. Pretty much everything that's in that's like close up is practical, but nothing that's really but nothing uh, but nothing like I guess like big or Fallout is CG. It is practical. Some of it is. I think the T-Rex is practical. It's mostly because they can like reuse the 1993 one. I mean, I don't know how that aged, to be honest. But yeah. Um. But the CGI, I think it's good. I think it's good CGI. The action, there is some action in this movie. I want to say there is some action in this movie that I can talk about, but it's there's not a lot of it. There really isn't. This movie doesn't have a lot, like sure, like it has I think the same amount of action. You could probably have a little bit more than the original, but it doesn't have, I guess, the same memorability. Like obviously San Diego Chase. The San Diego Chase is the most memorable part about this movie, but that is the finale. Like obviously you want the finale to stick. You want the finale again. That's like the last thing. Like that's the last thing they're gonna see. So you want that shit to stick. And going on with a bang with fucking T-Rex going at it in San Diego, that'll do it. that'll do it. I have something to say about it about the San Diego Chase, but I'll leave it for later. Not like actually like anything bad about it, but just just kind of there. Shit. All right. What? Who the fuck? Okay. All right. Just you kind of looking through the Wikipedia page of the novel, and it's just like, okay, what the fuck? Yeah. Yeah, okay, whatever. Alright, so yeah, no, the action is fine, but like there's just like very little bit that's actually memorable. Obviously, there's again, I watched this movie like a week ago, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. But there's a T-Rex chase scene on the island and then off it. There's the don't go. There's the tall grass raptor thing, but even that goes kind of fast. There's the Stegosaur thing. There's the one where they attack the camp. The game trail. That's it. Like that is like the only I guess action sequences of the movie. There really isn't. We haven't heard anything aside from like we haven't seen anything that really says what? No fucking hell. We haven't. There's nothing else. There's like nothing else. We haven't seen anything that really like is memorable. Like come like just that like we haven't seen anything from the movie that actually shines aside from like again the San Diego chase scene. That is the only thing stand out about the movie. But there are some weird ass shit with the action in this movie. I gotta fucking say. It is so goofy sometimes. It is genuinely very goofy. I guess there's no other place to really talk about it. But the the contraptions that the fucking hunters have in this movie, like the dino hunters, they're like made to sell toys. And also the I stopped at how Eddie dies again. It's like, why? Um. Okay, yeah. So yeah, and also when like Kelly kicks the fucking Velociraptor out of the window into like a perfectly, it's just kind of there perfect to impale the Velociraptor. Like again, the gymnastic kick from this movie is also pretty infamous, but for the wrong reason. Like it's famous for the wrong reasons. It's infamous because it's like so ridiculous that they even work. I What the fuck? Who even thought of that? And also, that shit was the most telegraphed thing. I think a Velociraptor would know what the fuck was going on in there. You know, since they have a pretty big brain case, apparently. I think. I might be confusing with Troodon. If Troodon's still a fucking valid genus. But yeah. Overall, I think the CGI in action is fine, but it's definitely not the best part. Correct myself, it is the best part about the movie. But it's not like it's better than the original or even surpasses it. It's either on par or just kind of just kind of a bit lower. Um, but yeah. Anyways, let's talk about the characters real quick, and we were starting off with Ian Malcolm. So Ian Malcolm is the only character from the original movie to have a bigger role than than any others that return here. Obviously, in here we have Tim and Lex, and John Hammond also makes an appearance. So yeah, I mean, they're there, but Ian Malcolm's the only one to actually have any sort of role, and so and that's true with the novel. That's true with the novel. The the main character of the novel is Ian Malcolm, and but in here, I I I uh, I don't know. Nothing much has changed with Ian Malcolm. It's weird. Okay, so we do see sort of a different side of him. Uh, we see him like we learned about that he has a lot of kids in the first movie, and we see one of them here with Kelly, and obviously, we see his relationship with his girlfriend Sarah. Um, so we see this side. We see this side of him where he loves, loves and appreciates his family, definitely. But like aside from that, there isn't much. He is still the quippy Ian Malcolm we know and love from the first movie, but he's not accompanied by characters that can that bounce off him well. There are moments that he does say things that are as quotable as his first movie, as the one from the first movie, such as when he says that when they're screaming out Sarah's name, and then I think it's Eddie says Sarah Harding, and then he says, "How many Sarahs do you think are on the island?" So yeah, like I think he has his moments of being the creepy Ian Malcolm we all know and love, but aside from that, he doesn't do his character doesn't grow in any way. As I remember, not wanting to do the thing at first, and then having to do the thing at first, and then like he's like fully in. Like there really isn't much character development for him, and I guess it was much more excusable in the first movie. He was a side character in the first movie, you know, and he still went through quite a bit, to be honest. He was, but he was a side character in the first movie. He wasn't the main guy. And even then, we saw things from his character that transitioned here pretty well. But like here, he is our protagonist. So him having sort of like I saw him feeling the same shouldn't be a thing. I think they should have written him in a way that he's more compelling. And sure, this is still the same Ian Malcolm, but that's the thing. It's still the same Ian Malcolm. He's still written the same way. There's nothing different about him. So I feel like having him not act differently, but definitely like have a much more central role and have more depth added to him, I think would have made an infinitely better character in the movie than what we got proper. So next is Sarah Harding. You may be noticing a pattern from here on out where I don't talk about the characters as much, and that is mainly because there isn't much to talk about. So Sarah Harding is Ian Malcolm's girlfriend, and that's about where it ends. she's a photographer. She has, I think, goals. But like aside from that, like if I remember correctly, no, she's kind of there because Hammond told her and she knew that that Ian wouldn't let her go. So like there's some things here and there. But aside from like Sarah doesn't have much of a character. She's just Ian's girlfriend. That's how she was written in the movie, and she does do some things that definitely separate her from doing that. But like most of the times, her and Ian are together, like sharing scenes. That most of her scenes are her with Ian. So yeah, like there's not much characterization to be had in this, and that's weird. Because the movie kind of puts a big emphasis on Sarah at the beginning, but then it sort of peters out. And it's not like Sarah doesn't have her moments. She helps with the baby T-Rex. She helps with capturing, at least like returning the T-Rex to in San Diego to its enclosure. Like she does things, but it's never it's character traits. It's like sure, like this she can do these things, but we never really learn much about her character aside from that, and the fact that she loves Ian, but like he has his flaws, and she wants him to realize that. But like aside from that, there's not much to say. Next up is Nick Van Owen. Now, Nick Van Owen is, I think, the most weirdly written character here. And that's mainly because of what happens with him in the plot. So, Nick Van Owen starts out, he's helping out, right? He helps out, he's a big part of like the Isla Sorna stuff. And we learn that he is an environmentalist, or like he doesn't like hunters. He doesn't like the hunters, pretty much. and that kind of comes out of nowhere. It's never brought up again. Is never mentioned beforehand. It just kind of happens. It just kind of shows up in the narrative. And after it's the sort of stuff we never see from him ever again. This character is an original character for the movies. He's not in the novel, so they had to build him up, and they couldn't write more for him that wasn't just kind of bare bones stuff. And also, aside from that, not really building up throughout the movie. He is just there, and they didn't have the decency to give him a proper anything like a goodbye or something. He's just out of the movie. He just leaves, and we never hear from him ever again. And that is bizarre. That is so weird. Because why? Why would you add this character and then do legitimately almost nothing with? And he's such a nothing character. He has no personality at all. He's just he's there and he gets the job done, and he's an environmentalist, and that's really about it. There's nothing more to his character. He's just environmentalist dude. Which, yeah, that's not I wouldn't call that exciting. I wouldn't call that good character writing. He's legitimately just there. That is his character. He is there. So yeah, not exactly the best character here, to be honest. So yeah, next up is Kelly Malcolm. She is an original character as well, but she's like but instead of Neverado one where it's just completely original. Kelly Malcolm is a mismatch of different characters from the actual novel itself. A character called Kelly Curtis, another teenager that is in the movie for some reason, and they were made into Kelly Malcolm. I'm pretty sure that Ian didn't have any kids in the novel, but in here they took that idea and kind of ran with it. And Kelly also doesn't have a personality, doesn't really grow much. She's just kind of there, and she also exits the movie after the Sasona stuff. There isn't much. There really isn't much to say about Kelly. Again, she has a stupid fucking gymnastic kick to the Velociraptor that just kind of happens. But yeah, there's not really much to talk about for Kelly. There's no development. There's no nothing. She's just she is the child here. She screamed a lot, but she doesn't do anything. She fucking doesn't do it. She's scared of dinosaurs and whatever. She doesn't do anything. She adds absolutely fucking nothing to the plot. So yeah. Anyways, aside from that, not much to say. Next up is Eddie Carr. Eddie Carr is just fucking nothing. He's the one that has like the most brutal death ever when it gets torn up by 2 T-Rexes. So yeah. Aside from that, he doesn't do much. He doesn't develop. He's the only one to ever die. His death is mentioned once and then never again. Doesn't have a stake in the plot at all. It just kind of happens. They don't even like look for him. He's just dead. Eddie Carr is just fucking dead. So yeah, I don't think Eddie Carr is that much of a big character here. So we're just gonna move past him and go into Peter Ludlow. He is the main villain of the movie, and he is just businessman. I guess it works for what this movie's going for, but he's just businessman who then dies. And he's like that through the entire movie. He doesn't do much. He's not there for all of it. He's just there. He's just the villain. I like that I guess talk about the plot. That I like some of the characters have like compromises with each other, and at least that's interesting. Like aside from that, I don't really care all that much. I didn't feel any satisfaction from seeing this guy fail or anything. He's just a fine enough villain, but I don't have any like emotions towards him. And the last character I want to talk about is Roland Tembo. I feel like this is one of the most interesting and also kind of cool characters to come out of the movie, since he actually has goals and it's kind of cool. How obviously with being the hunter and then went on the T-Rex and then wanting to be kind of like that, and then also sort of realizing throughout the journey about him losing all his men and all that he doesn't want to be in the company of Indian, and he walks off into into a helicopter to get the fuck out of there. And you know what? I like this character. I like this character. I think this character is pretty cool, and I think his personality is also pretty cool. And not the fucking hunting part, but aside from that, like I like that. I like what his character represents, and I like that we at least like he's not just a villain. We do see him do some stuff and being smart and all that. When the situation is dire and they have to all team up and all that, like yeah, like I like this character. I think he's one of the better written characters of the entire movie. But yeah, I like Roland Temple a lot, but he is not in it for much for long. But he's very enjoyable when he is in it. All right, so next up, let's talk about some dinosaurs. So this movie introduced some dinosaurs and some just normal prehistoric reptiles in general. The Stegosaurus is here. They introduced that one. Is that it? Compsognathus that shows up for a bit. The Compsognathus stuff is mostly what takes the kills here. They're mostly just kind of out there. It's yeah, like Compsognathus is the one that I think takes the most kills here. But yeah, it doesn't show up for most of the movie. Pteranodon also is in the movie for not for some reason, but sometimes. At the very end, he's in the movie at the very end. So like I said, Stegosaurus has some plot relevance, like the beginning, not plot relevance, but definitely has some showtime in the beginning. And I think that's about it. Pachycephalosaurus, pretty cool. I like how it looks here, and I like how they kind of explain it, and like the role and like how they show how powerful it really is. The Parasaurolophus gets its official debut here, and this is where most people really know about it from. But it is in the. But the Parasaurolophus is in the first movie. It's just in the background for like a few seconds. Then there's the Mamenchisaurus, which you probably didn't even know fucking existed. It's the long neck. It's a long neck one. It's not the Brachiosaurus. That is. But I don't blame you, because Mamenchisaurus has, I think, the least screen time in the entire series or some shit like that. It's weird. It's wild. It's wild. But you know, I think that's really like about it for dinosaurs. The T-Rexes are cool. I like the plot with the baby T-Rex. I think it's cool to like kind of show how life evolved here, and even like show how I guess an evolution of what was shown in the first movie with the dinosaurs breeding, and how that sort of thing is played out here, and like the behaviors of all that. I think that's all pretty cool, but it is wrapped around in this movie, so there's just not much points there, to be honest. Yeah. So the dinosaurs are pretty cool, but they're not. I don't think they're as memorable as they were in the original in the 1993 movie. It's just how it worked. So moving on to the plot of the movie, there are some very big problems I have. So to put it there, there are the biggest thing about it here is that Isa Sorna shouldn't really be a thing. I like I said, like how I said at the beginning, in the novel, Isa Nublar was bombed to hell, and the dinosaurs weren't there. So Isa Sorna was made as a compromise, so Michael Crichton could write a second book. That is the reason why Sorna is Isa Sorna. But the film followed it and had Isa Sorna as the island. And the problem with that is that Isa Nublar is legitimately the exact same thing as Isa Sorna within the film universe. Isa Sorna shouldn't exist. There is no reason for it to, and that's kind of, I think, the biggest sentiment about the movie is that Isa Sorna is kind of pointless, because Isa Nublar and Isa Sorna within the movie universe kind of serves the same purpose, at least for this movie. Where in this movie, a lot of time, sometimes happened since Jurassic Park, since the events of the first film. So having the expedition to Isa Nublar would be accomplishing the same thing as Isa Sorna, because they would have both gone offline around the same time. Dinosaurs are roaming on the island. They're breeding. They are just kind of in the same spot that they would have been if what do you call it? If they just went to Isa Nublar, like they would have been. There's no difference. That's really why it makes Isa Sorna kind of pointless and kind of weird. Like, why didn't they just go to Isa Nublar when it would have been the exact same thing? I get having a different island close by, like nearby, for breeding purposes, because you don't want an outbreak anytime soon in Isa Nublar. But even then, like, there's a lot of inconsistencies, and we're gonna talk about. There's a lot of inconsistencies, and we're gonna talk about them. So another one is not another one, but like the whole the plot in general is a bit weird. Like it's a bit weird. They kind of bring up stuff sometimes that doesn't really make any sense, and they never really bring that back up again. Like I said, with Nick Van Owen being an environmentalist, that is brought up once, never again, never mentioned. And overall, I think the plot is just kind of simple. It's just like the most safe, simple thing they could have done. It's also highly inaccurate. So, in the second film, in the second novel, it wrote a lot around Biosyn, which you might recognize from Dominion. Yeah, Biosyn was very involved here. They were doing things on Sorna, probably to get DNA. I haven't fucking read the book, but in this movie, it's actually hunters sent by Ludlow to capture dinosaurs to bring them to Jurassic Park, San Diego. That is the entire reason why they're there, and why why Ian Malcolm and those guys are going against them instead of what is actually going on during the second novel, where it's Biosyn. So yeah, and there's a lot of inconsistencies here. Sheriff dinosaurs are removed. Carnotaurus is in the second novel, for example, and it's not here. There's no fucking mention of it. I already talked about the characters being added and taken away from the plot. Another thing is that the entire San Diego sequence was added for the film. In the book, it ends as they are leaving Isa Sorna. And also, for the fact, in the book, is also not is also kind of fucked because at least the dinosaurs there are kind of fucked because it's explained that there's gonna be like a plague or like a prion like a plague going on throughout the island. So all the dinosaurs are gonna fucking die anyways. So yeah, at that point there are no more dinosaurs. There were no more dinosaurs that in the novel universe, aside from the ones that went onto the mainland. But even then, I think most of them were fucking gunned down. So yeah. But the plot, yeah, it's just a lot of inconsistencies. San Diego scene, fine, but like I think the San Diego scene, for what it is, feels very out of place in the movie. Because it just wasn't part of the original plot. It wasn't. So it feels kind of tacked on. So it's just another list, another thing to put in the list of things that this movie just kind of tacks on to itself just to, I don't know, blow up the runtime. So yeah, I think that this movie is a very not good adaptation of the actual novel. But like everything else about it is just kind of fine. It's just super basic. That is legitimately it. The plot itself, it's just super stupid basic that it doesn't matter. it doesn't matter how good it is or how bad it is. It's just in the middle. It's just super basic. They didn't do anything interesting with the changes. It just kind of it's just the safest thing ever that kind of makes no sense. So yeah, I think it's about it. In conclusion, this movie is okay. Like this movie is run of the mill. Cool action sequences where there are the characters. They're not the best, and there are a lot of inconsistencies from the book, from the adaptation from the book to the novel to the film, and you won't be getting the Lost World experience. And there are people clamoring for Universal to do a faithful adaptation of both books. I think it could work. I think they definitely could, but I don't think they would, because that would be very R-rated. That would be very, very violent, and I'm not sure if Universal wants to go in that direction. I think as a TV series it could work, but not as a, definitely not as a, what do you call it, as a film. And I think an R-rated Jurassic Park could be sold to some people, but I don't think for many. Jurassic Park is a very big toy making franchise. It's Jurassic World. So I don't think want to really take their reputation for that. Although they could make like the distinction of Jurassic World being a little bit more kid oriented and Jurassic Park being a little bit more adult oriented, mainly because most kids know it as Jurassic World instead of Jurassic Park. So yeah. Anyways, yeah, going back to it, this movie's okay. It's nothing special. It's just there, but it's not offensive. It's not offensively bad. It's legitimately just okay. That it's definition of safe, and just I don't think it's a worthy sequel, but it's gonna be hard to live up to Jurassic Park. So that's why the Lost World Jurassic Park is going in the C tier. Very big decline, I would say, going down. Like it went immediately down to 3 tiers, but yeah. Anyways, what did you guys think about the Lost World Jurassic Park? Leave in the comments below. All of our socials, what the fuck was that? All of our socials are in the description. And yeah, no, that's about it. See ya.